Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jocelyn Outlaw, founder of Fortitude Emergency Management, Inc., where we specialize in helping small and medium-sized businesses prepare for the unexpected. So whether it's a fire, flood, cyber attack, or even a medical emergency, our mission is to make sure you don't just survive a crisis, but recover stronger. Just a few points for housekeeping. Any questions that come up for you while we go through the material, please feel free to pop them into the chat and we will have some time saved for questions at the end of the presentation. Please keep all microphones muted. We just ask that you turn the camera on if you raise your hand later on at the end to ask your questions, if you have any. Now, before we get started, while we wait for a few more to join, why don't you each pop into the chat and tell us where you are from and the name of your business? I think we'll just give everyone a couple minutes here still to join, and then we will be getting started. So before we kind of get into things, I see there's a bunch of you typing stuff in the chat here. So let's actually jump into this. I don't see anybody else waiting in the waiting room, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. So I'll take a moment to introduce myself. I have spent nearly 2 decades immersed in the disaster and restoration industry. I've honed an extensive expertise that spans various facets of the field. My journey began with hands-on experience navigating the complexities of catastrophic and large loss divisions at reputable organizations like AMCAT Global, CDT International, and Paul Davis. Now I'm currently working within the insurance industry, leveraging my insights as a licensed insurance advisor in Canada. Complementing my practical experience, I've pursued advanced education to enhance my skill set. I hold an emergency management certificate from George Brown College, a CAPM designation, and have recently completed my risk management studies at Seneca Polytechnic. Currently, I'm working towards my designation through RIMS, which is the organization providing accreditation in the risk management field globally. So market statistics, small business market and emergency preparedness in US and Canada. So market size, in North America, there are over 33 million small businesses in the United States and 1.2 million in Canada. A significant portion of these businesses are underprepared for emergencies, with many lacking proper continuity plans. Crisis statistics. Approximately 40% of small businesses in both countries never reopen after a disaster, which is 13.2 million. And over 25% face major crises annually, ranging from natural disasters to cyber attacks. That's 8.25 million small businesses in North America affected by major crises annually. Statistics that we aim to lower. Growing demand. As awareness increases, driven by disasters like wildfires, floods, and global events, for example, pandemics, the demand for business continuity planning is rising. Companies are recognizing the critical need to secure operations, create a growing market for emergency planning services in both the US and Canada. So Fortitude Emergency Management Inc. aims to change and improve on these statistics and prevent you and your business from becoming one of them. So today we are diving into one of the most important conversations a small business can have: the top 5 mistakes small businesses make in emergencies, and more importantly, how to avoid them. If you've ever thought, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, or, oh, it probably won't happen to us, this session is for you. By the end of this webinar, you'll walk away with clear, actionable steps to start strengthening your emergency response today without needing a big budget or fancy tools. So why does emergency planning matter? So according to FEMA, nearly 40% of small businesses never reopen after a major disaster. Think about that. That's almost half. And many that do reopen are struggling for months, even years, to regain their footing. Why? It's not because they weren't hardworking, it's because they were unprepared. Emergencies don't care how good your customer service is or how loyal your clients are. A burst pipe, a server crash, a gas leak, these things can grind operations to a halt overnight. So let me paint a picture. Imagine this. It's a Friday afternoon, you're not in the office. A thunderstorm rolls in, lightning strikes nearby, and the power is knocked out. Your team doesn't know if they should stay, leave, unplug equipment, or who to call first. Your point of sale system crashes. Calls from clients start pouring in and panic sets in. The truth is, emergencies don't wait for a convenient moment, and they rarely come with a warning. So today, I'm going to walk you through the most common ways businesses get caught off guard and what you can do starting today to build real resilience. So we're going to look at 5 different mistakes that you, as small business owners, make. So mistake number 1, no plan at all. This is the most common issue we see. No emergency plan whatsoever. It's like owning a car and never learning to use the brakes. Businesses often assume common sense will kick in, but under stress, logic flies out the window. So what this looks like in practice. No one knows where the fire extinguisher is or how to use it. Yeah, don't be this guy. People stand around waiting for someone to take charge. Critical decisions are delayed. So the fix. Start simple. Create a basic written plan. It should cover what types of emergencies you're most likely to face, who's responsible for what, and how to communicate with your team and stakeholders during a crisis. And a pro tip, we recommend running at least 1 tabletop drill per quarter to practice the plan. Even if it's just 30 minutes over coffee, it absolutely counts. Mistake number 2, only the owner knows the plan. Even when a plan does exist, there's another dangerous issue. Only one person knows it, usually the business owner. Here's the problem. If that person is on vacation, sick, or stuck in traffic when disaster strikes, the whole plan falls apart. Imagine this scenario. A water main breaks in your building at 7 a.m. You're unreachable. Your team arrives to ankle-deep water and no one knows who to call. Where to move valuables or how to shut off power safely. The fix? Delegate and train. Every business should have at least 2 backup leads, people who are trained, empowered, and confident to act. Spread the knowledge across roles. Ask yourself these questions. Are they first aid trained? Have they been trained to lead? Are they capable of leading during high stress? Only those that check off all 3 should be considered as leaders for executing the plan. Pro tip, document everything digitally and in print. Keep copies both on site and off site and share it with key team members. So mistake number 3, no contact or communication tree. Emergencies are chaotic. Clear communication can mean the difference between damage control and complete disaster. Yet many businesses rely on outdated contact lists, or worse, on someone's phone that's locked or left at home. Common issues include no one has emergency numbers saved, no way to reach staff during a power outage, clients are left in the dark, damaging your reputation. The fix. Build a contact tree and keep it updated quarterly. This includes internal contacts, so staff and management, external resources, like utility companies, the landlord, IT support, and critical vendors or clients. Create a digital and printed contact list phone tree and compose social media messages well in advance that can be copied and pasted for quick communication to update both customers and stakeholders. Here's a pro tip. Use tools like group texts, Slack, WhatsApp, or dedicated mass notification platforms and test them regularly. Keep in mind that SMS uses the least amount of data and has the best chances of success without using data or Wi-Fi that will most likely be out during a power outage. Mistake number 4, ignoring local hazards. Every region has its own threats, but too many plans are generic, and by ignoring the specific risks where you operate, you leave yourself exposed. If you're in a flood zone and only have a fire evacuation plan, you are exposed. Examples of overlooked local threats: wildfire smoke infiltrating HVAC systems, tornado watches in prairie provinces or over the American plains, infrastructure failures due to extreme cold or heat. Pro tip: actually the fix, use a risk and hazard vulnerability assessment. Look at historical incidents, weather trends, local government data, and insurance risk reports. Build your plan to reflect those risks for your specific area. And the pro tip, municipal emergency management offices often have free resources. Take advantage of the local knowledge. Mistake number 5, no practice equals false confidence. Last but not least, we have the illusion of preparedness. Just having a plan in a binder doesn't mean your team knows what to do. In a real crisis, the pressure will make it hard to think clearly unless your body and brain have practiced the steps. No drills end up as chaos under pressure, and no one can function under that. Common signs of this mistake: staff freeze or panic when alarms go off. Emergency exits are blocked. Key decision makers forget the plan exists. The fix: run regular varied drills. Fire, lockdown, medical, cyber. Keep it relevant and fresh. We recommend running a drill once per quarter. We offer this as part of our emergency plan program. And pro tip: rotate roles so different people lead each drill. This builds leadership muscle, confidence in the plan, and builds resilience within your team. Practice makes calm. So let's quickly do a recap of the 5 most common mistakes. So number 1, no plan. Number 2, only one person knows the plan. Number 3, no reliable contact or communication method. Number 4, ignoring regional and seasonal hazards. And number 5, no drills or practice to test the plan. Now here's the good news. All 5 are completely fixable, and it's never too late to start. So to make it easier, we've created a free downloadable checklist that walks you through your business to see where you are currently and where you need attention. We will post this up in the chat at the end of the presentation. And then for those of you that are ready to take the next step, we've also got a mini course on business evacuation planning, designed specifically for small businesses. It's self-paced, budget-friendly, and you'll walk away with a plan you can actually use. So we'll get to the questions that people have posted up in just a moment. So if you have any that you'd like to ask, just raise your hand or go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll get to those momentarily. So now what we have is our free download for you today as a thank you for attending. This is for the emergency preparedness checklist, which is a simple and straightforward place to begin if you don't currently have a plan. We also have our mini course on evacuation planning, a very valuable asset for any small or medium-sized business. When you click on the link in the chat for the download, a window will pop up and ask you for your email and name. You'll be rerouted to the downloads page or the payment page for the mini course. Feel free to pick up both. They are absolutely invaluable for you as a jumping off point for your business. And as a thank you for being here today, I'm offering a 1-day discounted rate for the mini course at 50% off the regular price. I want to offer this to you at a reduced rate simply because this is such an invaluable tool, and given the increased urgency in our world today to have an effective evacuation plan, I want to make sure you have every opportunity to get your hands on the tools that you need. Use code EVACSAVE50 at checkout. This is only valid from 7 p.m. until approximately 3 a.m. Eastern Time. After that, the savings will expire and won't be available again. If you are watching this in replay, the savings will not be available to you. Watch for other live events and sign up to be the first to know when we are going live through the link on our Instagram account. Now, let's go ahead and start taking some questions. All right, so I do know that we've had a few questions while people are just typing them up in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and address some that came through email before we had the webinar tonight. So question 1 comes from Sarah Jennings in Kelowna, BC. So Sarah's asking, what's the biggest mistake you see small businesses make during an emergency, and how can we fix it before it happens? I love this question. So the number one mistake is not having a written emergency plan at all. Many small businesses assume they'll just figure it out in the moment or rely on common sense. Now, the fix is simple but very critical. Conduct a risk assessment of your business. So your location, your operations, your staff, all of your assets. Use those results to create a custom emergency plan that includes evacuation routes, communication protocols, and specific threats like fires, floods, or cyber attacks. The second thing you want to do is train your staff on that plan and review it and update it quarterly. Without documentation and training, confusion and delays usually will cost lives and will definitely cost you revenue. Businesses with plans recover 60% faster than those without. So this is an absolutely vital key first step, Sarah. So hopefully, if you do not have a plan, that this will assist you and get you moving to get yourself protected. So we have another email question here. This is from Marcus Reed in Buffalo, New York. Hello, Marcus. So Marcus had emailed in before the webinar as well, and he has asked, how often should we be testing our emergency plans, and what does that look like in a small business with 12 employees? Wonderful question. So at a minimum, Marcus, you should be testing your emergency plan every quarter. That frequency is ideal, especially if your team or operations change often. So for a business your size, here's how testing might look. So you could be doing tabletop drills where staff walk through a realistic scenario. So for example, a gas leak, active threat, IT outage. You should also be doing evacuation drills where employees physically follow the plan, use exits, and gather at a muster point. Communication tests are also important where you simulate alerts using your design channels. So for example, email, SMS, your group chat with your work. These don't need to be complicated, but they have to be timely and consistent with lessons logged and the plan refined each time. Important to make sure that you're going over and getting feedback and making notes so that you can adjust the plan. If you have feedback from certain employees that are stating that a certain exit wasn't exactly accessible at first and things had to be moved out of the way, those are the types of things that you're going to want to make note of and make a different part of the plan where they can exit at a different location, or you guys can clean that issue up and, going forward, make sure that that is an accessible means of egress. I hope that answered your question, Marcus. I'm hoping that was what you were looking for. All right, so now going over to the chat, we have Denise from Moncton, New Brunswick. So Denise has asked, what's the difference between a business continuity plan and an emergency response plan? Are they the same? They are complementary, Denise, but they serve different purposes. So they are different, but they are complementary to each other. They work in tandem. So essentially, an emergency response plan, otherwise known as an ERP, focuses on immediate life safety and property protection during an incident. It covers things like evacuations, first aid, fire, weather, lockdowns, etc. Now, a business continuity plan, or a BCP, focuses on how to keep your business running or recover quickly after the emergency. So it addresses things like restoring IT systems, relocating operations, communicating with clients, financial recovery. So think of the ERP as the what do we do right now, and the BCP as how do we get back to normal afterward? So every business needs both to reduce downtime and to protect people and assets. So I hope that made sense to you. Perfect. Let's see, do we have one more question in here? Scan through the chat. Okay, so we have Troy Carpenter from Toronto, Ontario. So Troy is in the chat asking, what's a mistake companies make when communicating during a crisis, and how can we avoid it? One common mistake is relying on a single communication method. So like email or phone during a crisis. If the power goes out or systems crash, you are absolutely stuck. So to avoid this, use a multi-channel approach. So text alerts, phone trees, apps like Slack or even Microsoft Teams internally, and external updates. So social media, website banners, this sort of thing. Create pre-scripted message templates for various scenarios. So have, things that you can post up for your customers on your social media feeds for power outages, lockdown, flood. Just have those ready to go so that you are not scrambling for words in the moment. Because I promise you, when it's hitting the fan, your brain is going to go into a completely different mode, and these simple tasks are going to become absolutely heavy, and you're going to be in the situation where you're not going to be able to communicate effectively. So also ensure that your staff know who communicates what and when. So confusion about roles leads to delayed action and mixed messages. Having a clearly documented crisis communication plan with redundancy built in is the best way to keep everyone informed and safe. So just think of that whole thing there, Troy. I hope we answered your question. You just have to look at this from a perspective of multiple channels, okay? It's always said that, even the best laid plans are gonna absolutely fall apart when it hits the fan, right? So always have multiple channels that you can utilize to get the word out. I think we have time for one more quick question. Let's pull this here. Okay, so from Emily Fox from Atlanta, Georgia. Emily asks us, our business rents space in a shared building. If the landlord has a plan, do we still need our own? Yes, absolutely. So while it's great that your landlord has a building-wide emergency plan, your business must still have its own internal protocols that address your specific risks and operations. So your landlord's plan typically covers things like building evacuations, utility shutoffs, structural concerns. But your internal plan must cover what happens to your inventory, data, or equipment, staff responsibilities and continuity planning, customer and vendor communication, emergency contacts specific to your operations. Now, with that being said, you should also coordinate with your landlord to ensure alignment and clarity during a real event. So feel free to book an appointment with your landlord to sit down and discuss, just to make sure that the main items that need to be addressed between the two plans align so that there's no confusion when there is confusion. I hope that makes sense. All right, and I believe that's about all the time we have for questions. So let's wrap things up here. The links for the free download are now available in the chat, and the link to the code and 50% off the evacuation plan mini course as well. If you have any questions about either, feel free to reach out to us directly. Here's how you can reach us. I'll leave this up on the screen for a few minutes for everyone. If this information presented today sparked new ideas or revealed some gaps in your plan, that's a good thing. Awareness is step one, action is next. So thank you all so much for being here today, and thank you for making the safety of your team and your business a priority. And remember, through fortitude, we conquer. Thank you, everyone.